Clarence Thomas had a difficult 2023. In April, the nonprofit newsroom ProPublica released an exposé documenting years of luxurious living, bankrolled by Texas real estate heir Harlan Crow. Additional revelations followed, of suspicious loans, undisclosed gifts, billionaire buddies and demands for higher pay. All of it contradicted an image that Thomas cultivated. That, as a man of humble beginnings, he had simple tastes and little desire to hobnob with the nation's elite. There is no question that Thomas's life is a genuine American success story. Born in the Georgia Low Country, his first home had one electric light and no indoor plumbing. He began in segregated public schools, then advanced to Catholic schools for blacks, the seminary, Holy Cross and finally to Yale Law School. After earning his law degree, he had so little money that he walked an hour to the office to avoid the bus fare. Eventually he made a name for himself and climbed to the heights of the U.S. judicial system. But his life also has been replete with mistakes, including his tendency, going back decades, to reach for a lifestyle he could not afford. In the 1970s, Thomas splurged on a house in St. Louis that cost almost twice as much as his previous rent. He spent on alcohol, drinking daily at a time when he didn't have much money for anything. After he landed a plum job in the Reagan administration and later sobered up, he still found himself short on cash. He piled on debt and bought flashy cars, including a Corvette. Like most people who achieve the American dream, Thomas has had plenty of people helping him along the way. First, there was his grandfather, who spent what little money he had putting Thomas through Catholic schools. Later Thomas's first wife worked as a bank teller to pay the bills while her husband went through law school. After that, pet food heir John Danforth, the Attorney General of Missouri at the time, took Thomas under his wing, setting him up with housing and a job. Colleagues helped, too, providing small loans when Thomas ran short of cash. He got divorced, fell in love again, and his new in-laws helped him buy another home. Today Thomas is worth an estimated $4 million, largely thanks to his high-profile position. In fact, roughly half of his fortune is tied up in his and his wife's government pensions. It's a long way from where he started, but in many ways, he remains who he has always been. He is still a hard worker, continuing to serve on the Supreme Court, even though he could have retired 10 years ago and padded his wealth on the lecture circuit. And he continues to reach for a life he cannot afford, accepting favors like luxury vacations from those who are better off than he is, without worrying too much about what they might want in return. Born in 1948, Thomas started life with one advantage: a handful of loving family members. Home was Pinpoint, Georgia, a wooded, 25-acre peninsula bounded by a tidal salt creek.